Imagine a monster so depraved, so utterly devoid of humanity that his crimes defy comprehension. A man who walked among us, a grandfatherly figure, while harboring the darkest secrets imaginable. Before we delve into this chilling narrative, a serious content warning. This story explores themes of child abduction, torture, and murder. Listener discretion is strongly advised, as this is not for the faint of heart. In the quiet, unassuming streets of 1920s America, a shadow lurked. Not a phantom, but a man named Albert Fish. To the casual observer, he was an elderly, frail figure, perhaps a bit eccentric, but harmless. A devout churchgoer, a loving grandfather, a handyman. But beneath that veneer lay a darkness so profound, so utterly chilling, it would forever stain the annals of criminal history. This is the story of how a monster hid in plain sight and the unimaginable horror he inflicted. Our story begins in 1928. In the bustling city of New York, the Budd family, a working-class household, was preparing for a joyous occasion, a family wedding. 10-year-old Grace Budd, a bright-eyed, vivacious girl, was filled with excitement. Her mother, Mrs. Budd, had placed an ad seeking a handyman. A man responded, introducing himself as Frank Howard. He seemed polite, respectable, even charming, with a soft voice and a grandfatherly twinkle in his unsettling eyes. He offered to take Grace to a children's party at a farm, promising her safe return and even offering to pay for the taxi. Mrs. Budd, trusting and perhaps a little naive in a world not yet hardened by such horrors, agreed. He watched as her daughter, hand in hand with this seemingly kind old man, walked away from their home. Grace turned and waved, her smile wide. It was the last time Mrs. Budd would ever see her daughter alive. Hours turned into days, days into weeks. The wedding passed, but Grace did not return. Panic set in. Police leads were scarce. Frank Howard was a phantom. The Budd family was plunged into an abyss of grief. Mrs. Budd sat by the window, day after day, year after year, her heart aching with desperate hope. Her husband, Albert Budd, tirelessly followed every false lead, his face etched with despair. The younger children, confused and scared, often asked when Grace would come home. There were no answers. The case went cold. A chilling statistic in a city of millions. But for the Budd family, it was a gaping wound that refused to heal. Every knock on the door, every stranger's face, held a flicker of hope, quickly extinguished by the crushing weight of reality. 6 long, agonizing years passed. 6 years of birthdays uncelebrated, Christmases without Grace's laughter. A family forever fractured by a monstrous unknown. The silence was deafening, punctuated only by the family's quiet suffering. Then, in 1934, a letter arrived, an envelope addressed to Mrs. Budd. The handwriting was crude, almost childlike, yet disturbingly precise. Inside, a confession. A detailed, horrifying account of Grace's abduction, torture, and murder. The letter described unspeakable acts, details that only the killer could know. It spoke of a farmhouse, of a child's terror, of unimaginable cruelty. It was signed, the Boogeyman. The letter was not just a confession, it was a taunt. A cruel reopening of wounds that had never truly closed. It offered a window into a mind utterly devoid of empathy, one that reveled in the suffering it paused. Mrs. Budd, trembling, read words that confirmed her deepest fears, painting a picture of hell on earth for her innocent daughter. Police were immediately involved. This was their first real break in 6 years, but it came at an unimaginable cost to the Budd family, forcing them to relive every horrifying moment. Detectives, led by the relentless William King, meticulously analyzed the letter. They traced the postmark, the stationery. A tiny detail, a laundry mark on a shirt mentioned in the letter, led them to a specific laundry service. From there, they found a name, Albert Fish. The address led them to a boarding house in New York. The pieces, slowly, sickeningly, began to fit together. When they apprehended him, Albert Fish was 64 years old. He looked like any other elderly man, frail and unassuming. He was small, balding, with a wispy mustache and a nervous twitch. But as they questioned him, the facade crumbled. Fish confessed, not just to Grace Budd's murder, but to a litany of other unspeakable crimes. He was a serial child abuser, cannibal, and murderer, responsible for the deaths of at least 3 children and suspected of many more. His mind was a labyrinth of perversion and self-mutilation, a landscape of horrors that even seasoned detectives struggled to comprehend. The details he recounted were beyond grotesque. He described his methods with chilling detachment, his eyes vacant, his voice flat. He had eaten parts of Grace Budd. He had committed acts of unimaginable cruelty against her and other children. The Frank Howard who had charmed Mrs. Budd was the same man who had meticulously planned and executed the ultimate betrayal of trust, a betrayal that shattered a family and shocked a nation. The revelation sent shockwaves through the nation. How could such evil hide in plain sight? How could a man who looked like a kindly grandfather be such a monster? His trial was a sensation, a descent into the darkest corners of the human psyche. The defense argued insanity, presenting evidence of his self-inflicted injuries and bizarre delusions, but the prosecution painted a picture of a calculating, sadistic predator who knew exactly what he was doing. The jury, after hearing the horrific testimony, found him guilty. Albert Fish was found guilty. On January 16, 1936, he was executed by electric chair at Sing Sing prison. His last words were reportedly, "I don't even know why I'm here," a final, chilling testament to his complete lack of remorse or understanding of his own monstrousness, a final insult to the families he destroyed. For the Budd family, the execution brought a grim form of closure, but no true peace. The image of Grace, walking away with a monster, would forever haunt them. Their lives were irrevocably scarred by the encounter with pure evil. The story of Albert Fish became a cautionary tale, a stark reminder that evil does not always wear a villain's mask. It can be hidden behind a smile, a kind word, a seemingly harmless demeanor, lurking in the most unexpected places. It forces us to confront uncomfortable questions. How do we protect the innocent? How do we recognize the wolves in sheep's clothing when they blend so seamlessly into society? And what does it say about humanity that such depravity can exist, festering beneath the surface of everyday life? The legacy of Albert Fish is not just a tale of horror, but a haunting echo of vulnerability and the constant vigilance required to safeguard our most precious. The story of Albert Fish is a terrifying glimpse into the abyss. It is a reminder that sometimes the most dangerous monsters are the ones we least suspect. What are your thoughts on this case? How do you think society can better protect its most vulnerable from such hidden evils? Share your perspectives in the comments below. If you found this deep dive into true crime compelling and want to explore more stories of the dark side of human nature, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that notification bell so you do not miss our next video. You can also check out our playlist on other historical true crime cases right here.